Alright, y'all, welcome back to the Mueller Report, where we are reading out loud the Mueller Report because there is not an audio version readily available, and the audible version will be like $20 when it comes out. And for the public release of information, I found it personally very important that someone make an audio of this so that it can reach as many people as possible, be it people who are visually impaired and cannot read the report for themselves, or people even who just would prefer to listen to it instead of read it. It's a very long report, and it totally makes sense that someone would want to listen to it, maybe in some kind of podcast form. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm pretty new at this, so I accept all feedback. So this is Chapter 3, Russian Hacking and Dumping Operations. Beginning in March 2016, units of the Russian Federation's main intelligence directorate of the General Staff, GRU, hacked the computers and email accounts of organizations, employees, and volunteers supporting the Clinton campaign, including the email account of campaign chairman John Podesta. Starting in April 2016, the GRU hacked into the computer networks of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, the DCCC, and the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. The GRU targeted hundreds of email accounts used by the Clinton campaign employees, advisors, and volunteers. In total, the GRU stole hundreds of thousands of documents from the compromised email accounts and networks. The GRU later released stolen Clinton campaign and DNC documents through online personas DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and later for the organization WikiLeaks. The release of documents was designed in time to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election and undermine the Clinton campaign. The Trump campaign showed interest in WikiLeaks releases, and in the summer and fall of 2016, WikiLeaks' first Clinton-related release, the Trump campaign stayed in contact about WikiLeaks' activities. The investigation was unable to resolve WikiLeaks' release of stolen Podesta emails on October 7, 2016. The same day, a video from years earlier was published of Trump using graphic language about women. Part A. GRU hacking directed at the Clinton campaign. 1. GRU units target the Clinton campaign. 2 military units of the GRU carried out the computer intrusions into the Clinton campaign, DNC, and DCCC. Military units 26165 and 74455. Military Unit 26165 is a GRU cyber unit dedicated to targeting military, political, governmental, and non-governmental organizations outside of Russia, including in the United States. The unit was subdivided into departments of different specialties. One department, for example, developed specialized malicious software, malware, while the other department conducted large-scale Führerizing campaigns. A Bitcoin mining operation to secure Bitcoin used to purchase computer infrastructure in hacking operations. Military Unit 74455 is a related GRU unit with multiple departments that engaged in cyber operations. Unit 74455 assisted in the release of documents stolen by Unit 26165, the promotion of these releases, and the publication of anti-Clinton content on the social media accounts operated by the GRU. Officers from Unit 74455 separately hacked computers belonging to the state boards of elections, secretaries of state, and U.S. companies that supplied software and other technology related to the administration and U.S. elections. Beginning in mid-March 2016, Units 26165 had primary responsibility for hacking the DCCC and the DNC, as well as the email accounts of individuals affiliated with the Clinton campaign. Unit 26165 used to learn about different Democratic websites, including Democrats.org, HillaryClinton.com, DNC.org, and DCCC.org. Began before the GRU had obtained any credentials or gained access to these networks, indicating that later DCCC and DNC intrusions were not crimes of opportunity but rather results of targeting. GRU officers had sent hundreds of spheralizing emails to work and personal email accounts of the Clinton campaign employees and volunteers. Between March 6, 2016 and March 15, 2016, Unit 26165 appears to have sent approximately 90 spear phishing emails and email accounts to HillaryClinton.com. Starting on March 15, 2016, the GRU began targeting Google email accounts used by the Clinton campaign employees, along with a smaller number of DNC.org email accounts. The GRU spear phishing operation enabled it to gain access to numerous email accounts of Clinton campaign employees and volunteers, including Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, junior volunteers assigned to the Clinton campaign advance team, informal Clinton campaign advisors, and DNC employees. GRU officers stole tens of thousands of emails from spear phishing victims, including various Clinton campaign-related communications. 2. Intrusions into DCCC and DNC networks. A. Initial access. By no later than April 12, 2016, the GRU had gained access to the DCCC computer network using the credentials stolen from a DCCC employee who had been successfully spearphishing before. In the ensuing weeks, the GRU traversed the network, identifying different computers connected to the DCCC network. By stealing network access credentials along the way, including those of IT administrators with unrestricted access to the system, the GRU compromised approximately 29 different computers on the DCCC network. Approximately 6 days after the first hacking in the DCCC network, on April 18, 2016, GRU officers gained access to the DNC network via a virtual private network VPN connection between the DCC and DNC networks. Between April 18, 2016 and June 8, 2016, Unit 26165 compromised more than 30 computers on the DNC network, including the DNC mail server and shared file server. B. Implementation of malware on DCCC and DNC networks. Unit 26165 implemented on the DCCC and DNC networks two types of customized malware, known as X-Agent and X-Tunnel. Mimikaz, a credential harvesting tool, rar.exe, a tool used in these intrusions to compile and compress materials for exfiltration. X-Agent was a multi-functioning hacking tool that allowed Unit 26165 to log keystrokes, take screenshots, and gather other data about infected computers, for example, file directories and operating systems. X-Tunnel was a hacking tool that created encrypting connections between the victim DCCC and DNC computers and the GRU-controlled computers outside the DCCC and DNC networks that was capable of large-scale data transfers. The GRU officers then used X-Tunnel to exfiltrate stolen data from the victim computers. To operate X-Agent and X-Tunnel on the DCCC and DNC networks, Unit 26165 officers set up a group of computers outside those networks to communicate with the implemented malware. The first set of GRU-controlled computers, known by the GRU as middle servers, sent and received messages to and from malware on the DNC and DCCC networks. The middle servers, in turn, relayed messages to the second set of GRU-controlled computers, labeled internally by the GRU as AMS Panel. The AMS Panel served as a nerve center for which the GRU officers monitored and directed the malware's operation on DNC and DCCC networks. The AMS panel used to control X-Agent during the DCCC and DNC intrusions was housed on at least one computer located near Arizona, The Arizona-based AMS panel stored thousands of files containing key logging sessions captured through an X-Agent. These sessions were captured as the GRU officers monitored DCCC and DNC employees' work on infected computers regularly between April 2016 and June 2016. Data captured in these key logging sessions included passwords, internal communications between employees, banking information, and sensitive personal information. C. Theft of documents from DNC and DCCC networks. Officers from Unit 26165 stole thousands of documents from the DCCC and DNC networks, including significant amounts of data pertaining to the 2016 U.S. federal elections. Stolen documents included internal strategy documents, fundraising data, opposition research, and emails from the work inboxes of DNC employees. The GRU began stealing DCCC data shortly after it gained access to the network. On April 14, 2016, approximately 3 days after the initial intrusion, GRU officers downloaded rar.exe onto the DCCC document server. The following day, the GRU searched one compromised DCCC computer for files containing search items that related to Hillary, DNC, Cruz, and Trump. On April 25, 2016, the GRU collected and compromised PDF and Microsoft documents from folders on the DCCC's shared file server that pertained to the 2016 election. The GRU appears to have compromised and exfiltrated over 70 gigabytes of data from the file server. The GRU also stole documents from the DNC network shortly after gaining access. On April 22, 2016, the GRU copied files from the DNC network to the GRU-controlled computers. Stolen documents included the DNC's opposition research into candidate Trump. Between approximately May 25, 2016 and June 1, 2016, GRU officers accessed the DNC's mail server from a GRU-controlled computer leased inside the United States. During these connections, Unit 26165 officers appeared to have stolen thousands of emails and attachments, which were later released by WikiLeaks in July 2016. B. Dissemination of hacked materials. The GRU's operations extended beyond stealing materials and included releasing documents stolen from the Clinton campaign and its supporters. The GRU carried out anonymous release of two fictitious online personas that it created, DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and later for the organization WikiLeaks. 1. DC Leaks. The GRU began planning at the release as early as April 19, 2016, when Unit 26165 registered the domain dcleaks.com through a service that anonymized the registrant. Unit 26165 paid for the registration using a pool of Bitcoin it had mined. The dcleaks.com landing page pointed to different tranches of stolen documents, arranged by victim and subject matter. Other DC Leaks pages contained indexes of stolen emails that were being released, bearing the sender, recipient, and date of the email. To control access and the timing of releases, pages were sometimes password protected for a period of time and later made unrestricted to the public. Starting in June 2016, the GRU posted stolen documents onto the website dcleaks.com, including documents stolen from a number of individuals associated with the Clinton campaign. These documents appeared to have oriented from personal email accounts, in particular Google and Microsoft accounts, rather than DNC and DCCC computer networks. DC Leaks victims included an advisor from the Clinton campaign, a former DNC employee and Clinton campaign employee, and 4 other campaign volunteers. The GRU released through DC Leaks thousands of documents including personal, identifying, and financial information, internal correspondence related to Clinton campaign and prior political jobs, and fundraising files and information. GRU officers operated a Facebook page under the DC Leaks monitor, which they primarily used to promote releases of materials. The Facebook page was administered through a small number of pre-existing GRU-controlled Facebook accounts. GRU officers also used the DC Leaks Facebook account, the Twitter account @DCLeaks_, and the other email account dcleaksproject@gmail.com to communicate privately with reporters and other U.S. persons. GRU officers using the DC Leaks persona gave certain responders early access to archives of leaked files by sending them links and passwords to pages on DCLeaks.com website that had not yet become public. For example, on July 14, 2016, GRU officers began operating under the DC Leaks persona, sent a link and password for a non-public DC Leaks webpage to a U.S. reporter via the Facebook account. Similarly, on September 14, 2016, GRU officers sent reporters Twitter direct messages from DCLeaks.com with a password to another non-public part of the DCLeaks.com website. The DCLeaks.com website renamed operational and public until March 2017. 2. Guccifer 2.0. On June 14, 2016, the DNC and its cyber response team announced the breach of the DNC network and suspected theft of DNC documents. In the statements, the cyber response team alleged that the Russian state-sponsored actors, which they referred to as Fancy Bear, were responsible for the breach. Apparently, in response to that announcement, on June 15, 2016, GRU officers using the persona Guccifer 2.0 created a WordPress blog. In the hours leading up to the launch of the WordPress blog, GRU officers logged into a Moscow-based server managed by Unit 74455, and searched for a number of specific words and phrases in English, including some 100 sheets, Illuminati, and worldwide known. Approximately 2 hours after the last of these searches, Guccifer 2.0 published its first post, attributing the DNC server hack to a lone Russian hacker and using several of the unique English words and phrases that the GRU officers had searched for that day. The same day, June 15, 2016, the GRU also used Guccifer 2.0 WordPress blog to begin releasing the public documents stolen from the DNC and DCCC computer networks. The Guccifer 2.0 persona ultimately released thousands of documents stolen from the DNC and DCCC in a series of blog posts between June 15, 2016 and October 8, 2016. Released documents including opposition research performed by the DNC, including a memorandum analyzing potential criticisms of candidate Trump, internal policy documents such as recommendations on how to address politically sensitive issues, analysis of specific congressional races and fundraising documents. Releases were organized around thematic issues such as specific states, for example Florida and Pennsylvania, that were perceived as competitive in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Beginning in late June 2016, the GRU also used Guccifer 2.0 persona to release documents directly to reporters and other interested individuals. Specifically, on June 27, 2016, Guccifer 2.0 sent an email to the news outlet The Smoking Gun, offering to provide exclusive access to some of the leaked emails linked to the Hillary Clinton staff. The GRU later sent the reporter a password and a link to the locked portion of the DCLeaks.com website that contained an archive of emails stolen by Unit 26165 from a Clinton campaign volunteer in March 2016. That tends to indicate that both personas were operated by the same or closely related group of people. The GRU continued its release efforts for Guccifer 2.0 into August 2016. For example, on August 5, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona sent a candidate for U.S. Congress documents related to the candidate's opponent. On October 22, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona transferred approximately 2.5 gigabytes on the Florida-related data stolen from the DCCC to a U.S. blogger covering Florida politics. On August 22, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona sent a U.S. reporter documents stolen from the DCCC pertaining to the Black Lives Matter movement. The GRU was also in contact through the Guccifer 2.0 persona with a former Trump campaign member. In early August 2016, Twitter's suspension of the Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account. After it was reinstated, GRU officers posing as Guccifer 2.0 wrote via private message, "Thank you for writing back. Do you find anything interested in the docs I posted?" On August 17, 2016, the GRU added, "Please tell me if I can help you anyhow. It would be a great pleasure on me." On September 19, 2016, the GRU, again posing as Guccifer 2.0, referred to a stolen DCCC document posted online and asked, "What do you think of the info on the turnaround model for the Democrats' entire presidential campaign?" Responded, "Pretty standard." The investigation did not identify evidence of any other communications between and Guccifer 2.0. 3. Use of WikiLeaks. In order to expand its interference in the U.S. 2016 presidential election, the GRU units transferred many of the documents they stole from the DNC and the chairman of the Clinton campaign to WikiLeaks. The GRU officers used both the DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0 personas to communicate with WikiLeaks through Twitter private messages and through encrypted channels, including possibly through WikiLeaks' private communication system. A. WikiLeaks expressed opposition toward the Clinton campaign. WikiLeaks, and particularly its founder Julian Assange, privately expressed opposition to candidate Clinton well before the first release of stolen documents. In November 2015, Assange wrote to other members and associates of WikiLeaks that, quote, "We believe it would be much better for the GOP to win. Dems plus media plus liberals would then block the reign at the worst qualities. ... With Hillary in charge, GOP will be pushing for her worst qualities. Dem plus media plus neoliberals will be mute. ... She's bright, well-connected, sadistic sociopath," unquote. In March 2016, WikiLeaks released a searchable archive of approximately 30,000 Clinton emails that had been obtained through FOIA litigation. With designated the archive, one WikiLeaks member explained the reason for building archive to another associate. Quote, "We want this repository to become the place to search for background on Hillary's plotting at the State Department during 2009 to 2013. Firstly, because it's useful and will annoy Hillary, but secondly, because we want to be a resource/player in the US election, because it may encourage people to send us even more important leaks," unquote. Part B, WikiLeaks' first encounter of Guccifer 2.0 in DC Leaks. Shortly after the GRU's release of stolen documents for DCLeaks.com in June 2016, GRU officers also used DCLeaks persona to contact WikiLeaks about possible coordination in the future of stolen emails. On June 14, 2016, @DCLeaks_ sent a direct message to @WikiLeaks, noting, quote, "You announced your organization was preparing to publish more Hillary emails. We're ready to support you. We have sensitive information too, in particular her financial documents. Let's do it together. What do you think about publishing our info at the same moment? Thank you," unquote. Around the same time, WikiLeaks initiated communications with the GRU persona Guccifer 2.0, shortly after it was used to release documents stolen from the DNC. On June 22, 2016, 7 days after Guccifer 2.0's first releases of stolen DNC documents, WikiLeaks used Twitter's direct messaging function to contact Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account and suggest that Guccifer 2.0, quote, "Send any new material stolen from the DNC here for us to review and it will have a much higher impact than what you are doing," unquote. On July 6, 2016, WikiLeaks again contacted Guccifer 2.0 through Twitter's private messaging function and writing, quote, "If you have anything Hillary related, we would want it in the next 2 days, preferably, because if the DNC is approaching and she will solidify Bernie supporters behind her after," unquote. The Guccifer 2.0 persona responded, quote, "Okay, I see," unquote. WikiLeaks also explained, quote, "We think Trump has only a 25% chance of winning against Hillary, ... so conflict between Bernie and Hillary is interesting," unquote. Part C, the GRU's transfer of stolen materials to WikiLeaks. Both the GRU and WikiLeaks sought to hide their communications, which has limited the office's ability to collect all the communications between them. Thus, although it is clear that stolen DNC and Podesta documents were transferred to the GRU to WikiLeaks, the office was able to identify when the GRU, operating through personas Guccifer 2.0 and DC Leaks, transferred some of its stolen documents to WikiLeaks through online archives set by the GRU. Assange had access to the internet from the Ecuadorian embassy in London, England. On July 14, 2016, GRU officers used a Guccifer 2.0 email account to send WikiLeaks an email bearing the subject, quote, "Big Archive," and the message, quote, "A new attempt." The email contained an encrypted attachment with the name WKDNC link1.text.gpg. Using the Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account, GRU officers sent WikiLeaks an encrypted file and instructions on how to open it. On July 18, 2016, WikiLeaks confirmed a direct message to Guccifer 2.0 account that it had the, quote, 1 gigabyte or so archive, unquote, and released the stolen documents this week. On July 22, 2016, WikiLeaks released over 20,000 emails and other documents stolen from the DNC computer networks. The Democratic National Convention was 3 days later. Similar communications occurred between WikiLeaks and the GRU-operated persona DC Leaks. On September 15, 2016, @DC Leaks wrote to @WikiLeaks, "Hi there, I'm from DC Leaks. How could we discuss some submission-related issues? Am trying to reach you via your second chat, but got no response. I've got something that might interest you. You won't be disappointed, I promise." The WikiLeaks account responded, quote, "Hi there," unquote, without further elaboration. The @DCLeaks_ account did not respond immediately. The same day, the Twitter account @Guccifer2 sent @DCLeaks a direct message, which is the first known contact between the personas. During subsequent communications, the Guccifer 2.0 persona informed DCLeaks that WikiLeaks was trying to contact DCLeaks and arrange for a way to speak through encrypted emails. An analysis of metadata collected from the WikiLeaks site revealed that the stolen Podesta emails show a creation date of September 19, 2016. Based on information about Assange's computer and its possible operating system, this date might be when the GRU staged the stolen Podesta emails to transfer from WikiLeaks, as the GRU had previously done in July 2016 for the DNC. DNC emails. The WikiLeaks site also released PDFs and other documents taken from Podesta that were attachments to emails in his account. These documents had a creation date of October 2nd, 2016, which appears to be the same date as attachments were separately staged by WikiLeaks on its site. Beginning on September 20th, 2016, WikiLeaks and DC Leaks resumed communications in the brief exchange. On September 22nd, 2016, a DC Leaks email account, dcleaksproject@gmail.com, sent an email to WikiLeaks account, the subject, quote, submission, and the message, hi from DC Leaks. The email contained a PGP encrypted message with the file name wiki_mail.text.gpg. The email, however, bears a number of similarities to the July 14, 2016 email in which the GRU officers used Guccifer 2.0 persona to give WikiLeaks access to a number of DNC files. On September 22, 2016, the same day of DC Leaks' email to WikiLeaks, the Twitter account @DCLeaks sent a single message to @WikiLeaks with a string of characters. The office cannot rule out the stolen documents were transferred to WikiLeaks through intermediaries who visited during the summer of 2016. For example, public reporting identified Andrew Mueller as a WikiLeaks associate who may have assisted with the transfer of these stolen documents to WikiLeaks. On October 7th, 2016, WikiLeaks released the first emails stolen from the Podesta email account. In total, WikiLeaks released 33 tranches of stolen emails between October 7th, 2016 and November 7th, 2016. The releases included private speeches given by Clinton, internal communications between Podesta and other high-ranking members of the Clinton campaign, and correspondence related to the Clinton Foundation. In total, WikiLeaks released over 50,000 documents stolen from Podesta's personal email account. The last in-time email released from Podesta's account was dated March 21st, 2016, 2 days after Podesta's received spear phishing email sent to the GRU. Part D. WikiLeaks statements dissembling the source of stolen materials. As reports attributing the DNC and DCCC hacks to the Russian government emerged, WikiLeaks and Assange made several public statements apparently designed to obscure the source of the materials that WikiLeaks was releasing. The file transfer evidence described above and other information uncovered during the investigation discredit WikiLeaks' claim about the source of the material that it posted. Beginning in summer 2016, Assange and WikiLeaks made a number of statements about Seth Rich, a former DNC staff member who was killed in the July of 2016. The statements about Rich implied falsely that he had been the source of the DNC emails. On August 9, 2016, the @WikiLeaks Twitter account posted, quote, announce WikiLeaks has decided to issue a US $20,000 reward for information leading to the conviction of the murder of DNC staff Seth Rich, unquote. Likewise, the August 25, 2016 Assange was asked in an interview, why are you so interested in Seth Rich's killer? And responded, quote, we're very interested in anything that might have a threat to alleged WikiLeaks sources, unquote. The interview responded to Assange's statement by commenting, quote, I know you don't want to reveal your source, but certainly sounds like you're suggesting a man who leaked information to WikiLeaks was then murdered, unquote. Assange replied, quote, if there's something who's potentially connected to our publication, and that person has been murdered in suspicious circumstances, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two are connected, but it is a very serious matter. That type of allegation is very serious, and it's taken very seriously by us, unquote. After the U.S. intelligence community publicly announced its assessment that Russia was behind the hacking operation, Assange continued to deny that the Clinton materials released by WikiLeaks had come from Russian hacking. According to media reports, Assange told U.S. congressmen that the DNC hack was an inside job and purported to have physical proof that Russians did not give the materials to Assange. C. Additional GRU cyber operations. While releasing the stolen emails and documents for DC Leaks, Guccifer 2.0, and WikiLeaks, GRU officers continued to target and hack victims linked to the Democratic campaign and eventually to target entities responsible for election administration in several states. Section 1, Summer and Fall 2016 Operations Targeting Democrat-Linked Victims. On July 27, 2016, Unit 26165 targeted email accounts connected to candidate Clinton's personal office. Earlier that day, candidate Trump made public statements that included the following, quote, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press, unquote. The, quote, 30,000 emails, unquote, were apparently a reference to emails described in media accounts as having been stored on a personal server that candidate Clinton had used while serving as Secretary of State. Within approximately 5 hours of Trump's statement, GRU officers targeted for the first time Clinton's personal office. As candidate Trump's remarks, Unit 26165 created and sent malicious links targeting 15 email accounts at the domain, including an email account belonging to Clinton's aide. The investigation did not find evidence of earlier GRU attempts to compromise accounts hosted on this domain. It is unclear how the GRU was able to identify these email accounts, which were not public. Unit 26165 officers also hacked into the DNC account hosted on a cloud computing service. On September 20th, 2016, the GRU began to generate copies of DNC using function to allow users to produce backups of databases, referred to as snapshots. The GRU then stole these snapshots by moving them to account that they controlled. From there, the copies were moved to GRU-controlled computers. The GRU stole approximately 300 gigabytes of data from the DNC cloud-based network. 2. Intrusions targeting the administration of U.S. elections. In addition to targeting individuals involved with the Clinton campaign, GRU officers also targeted individuals and entities involved in the administration of elections. Victims included U.S. state and local entities, such as state boards of elections, SBOEs, Secretary of State, and county governments, as well as individuals who worked for these entities. The GRU also targeted private technology firms responsible for manufacturing and administering election-related software and hardware, such as voter registration software and electronic polling stations. The GRU continued to target these victims through the election in November 2016. While the investigation identified evidence that the GRU targeted these individuals and entities, the office did not investigate further. The office did not, for instance, obtain or examine servers or any other relevant items belonging to these victims. The office understands that the FBI, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the states have separately investigated that activity. By at least summer of 2016, GRU officers sought access to state and local computer networks by exploiting known software vulnerabilities on websites of state and local government entities. GRU officers, for example, targeted state and local databases of registered voters using a technique known as SQL injection, by which malicious code was sent to state or local website in order to run commands, such as explorating the database contents. In one instance, in approximately June 2016, the GRU compromised the computer network of the Illinois State Board of Elections by exploiting the vulnerability in the SBOE's website. The GRU then gained access to a database containing information on millions of registered Illinois voters, and extracted data related to thousands of U.S. voters before the malicious activity was identified. GRU officers scanned state and local websites for vulnerabilities. For example, over a 2-day period in July 2016, GRU officers for vulnerabilities on websites of more than 24 states. Similar for vulnerabilities continued through the election. Unit 7455 also sent spear phishing emails to public officers involved in election administration and personnel at companies involved in voting technology. In August 2016, GRU officers targeted employees of a voting technology company that developed software used by numerous U.S. counties and to manage voter rolls, and installed malware on the company network. Similarly, in November 2016, the GRU sent spear phishing emails over 120 accounts used by Florida county officials responsible for administering the U.S. 2016 election. The spear phishing emails contained the attached Word document coded with malicious software, commonly referred to as a Trojan, that permitted the GRU to access the infected computer. The FBI separately responsible for this investigation. We understand the FBI believes that this operation enabled the GRU to gain access to the network of at least one Florida county government. The office did not independently verify that belief, and as explained above, did not undertake the investigative steps that would have been necessary to do so. D. Trump campaign and the decimation of hacked materials. The Trump campaign showed interest in WikiLeaks' release of hacked materials throughout the summer and fall of 2016. 1. Background. On June 12, 2016, Assange claimed in a televised interview to, quote, have emails related to Hillary Clinton which are pending publication, unquote, but provided no additional context. In debriefings with the office, former Deputy Campaign Chairman Rick Gates said that Gates recalled candidate Trump being generally frustrated that the Clinton emails had not been found. Paul Manafort, who would later become campaign chairman, Michael Cohen, former executive vice president of the Trump Organization and special counsel to Donald J. Trump, told the office that he recalled an incident in which he was in candidate Trump's office in Trump Tower. Cohen further told the office that after WikiLeaks' subsequent release of stolen DNC emails in July 2016, candidate Trump said to Cohen something of the effect of, according to Gates, Manafort expressed excitement about the release. Manafort, for his part, told the office that shortly after WikiLeaks' July 22nd release, Manafort also spoke with candidate Trump. Manafort also wanted to be kept apprised of any developments of WikiLeaks that separately told Gates to keep in touch about future WikiLeaks releases. According to Gates, by the late summer of 2016, the Trump campaign was planning a press strategy, a communications campaign, and a messaging base of the possible release of Clinton emails by WikiLeaks. While Trump and Gates were driving to LaGuardia Airport, shortly after a call, candidate Trump told Gates that more releases of damaging information would be coming. C. Corsi is an author who holds a doctorate in political science. In 2016, Corsi also worked for the media outlet World Net Daily WND. Corsi told the office during interviews that he must have previously discussed Assange with Malak. According to Malak, Corsi asked him to put Corsi in touch with Assange, whom Corsi had wished to interview. Malak recalled that Corsi had suggested that individuals in the orbit of UK politician Nigel Farage might be able to contact Assange and asked if Malak knew them. Malak told Corsi that he would think about the request but made no actual attempt to connect Corsi with Assange. Malak stated to investigators that beginning in or around August 2016, he and Corsi had multiple FaceTime discussions about WikiLeaks, and had made the connection to Assange, and that the hacked emails of John Podesta would be released prior to Election Day and would be helpful to the Trump campaign. In one conversation in or around August or September 2016, Corsi told Malak that the release of the Podesta emails was coming, after which we would be in the driver's seat. D. WikiLeaks' October 7th, 2016 release of stolen Podesta emails. On October 7th, 2016, 4 days after the Assange press conference, The Washington Post published an Access Hollywood video that captured comments by candidate Trump some years earlier that was expected to be adversely affect the campaign. Less than an hour after the video's publication, WikiLeaks released the first set of emails stolen by the GRU from the account of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. Corsi said that because he had no direct means of communicating with WikiLeaks, he told members of the news site WND, who were participating on a conference call with him that day, to reach Assange immediately. Corsi claimed that the pressure was enormous and recalled telling the conference call that the Access Hollywood tape was coming. Corsi stated that he was convinced that his efforts caused WikiLeaks to release the emails when they did. In a November 2018 interview, Corsi stated that he thought that he told people on a WND conference call about the forthcoming tape and had sent out a tweet asking whether anyone would contact Assange, but then said maybe he had done nothing. The office investigated Corsi's allegations about events of October 7th, 2016, but found little corroboration of his allegations that day. However, the phone records themselves do not indicate that the conversation was with any of the reporters who broke the Access Hollywood story, and that the office had not otherwise been able to identify the substance of the conversation. However, the office has not identified any conference call participant or anyone who spoke to Corsi that day, who says that they had received non-public information about the tape from Corsi or acknowledged having contacted a member of WikiLeaks on October 7, 2016, after a conversation with Corsi. E. Donald Trump Jr. interaction with WikiLeaks. Donald Trump Jr. had direct electronic communications with WikiLeaks during the campaign period. On September 20th, 2016, an individual named Jason Fishbein sent WikiLeaks the password for an unlaunched website focused on Trump's unprecedented and dangerous ties to Russia, PutinTrump.org. WikiLeaks publicly tweeted, quote, "Let's bomb Iraq, Progress for America PAC to launch PutinTrump.org at 9:30 a.m. Oops, PW is PutinTrump.org. Several hours later, WikiLeaks sent a Twitter direct message to Donald Trump Jr., quote, "A PAC-run anti-Trump site, PutinTrump.org, is about to launch. The PAC is a recycled pro-Iraq war PAC. We have guessed the password. It is Putin Trump. See about for who is behind it. Any comments?" Several hours later, Trump Jr. emailed a variety of senior campaign staff, quote, "Guys, I got a weird Twitter DM from WikiLeaks. See below. I tried the password and it works, and the About section they reference contains the next pick in terms of who is behind it. Not sure if this is anything, but it seems like it's really WikiLeaks asking me as I follow them, and it is a DM. Do you know people mentioned and what the conspiracy they are looking for could be? These are just screenshots, but it's fully built out page claiming to be a PAC. Let me know your thoughts and if we want to look more into it." Unquote. Trump Jr. attached a screenshot of the About page for the unlaunched site PutinTrump.org. The next day, after the website had launched publicly, Trump Jr. sent a direct message to WikiLeaks, quote, "Off the record, I don't know who that is, but I'll ask around, thanks," unquote. On October 3rd, 2016, WikiLeaks sent yet another message to Trump Jr., asking, quote, "You guys," unquote, to help decimate a link alleging candidate Clinton had advocated using a drone to target Julian Assange. Trump Jr. responded that he already had, quote-unquote, done so, and asked, quote, "What's behind this Wednesday leak I keep reading about," unquote. WikiLeaks did not respond. On October 12, 2016, WikiLeaks wrote again that it was a, quote, "Great day to see you and your dad talking about our publications. Strongly suggest your dad tweets this link if he mentions us. WLSearch.tk," unquote. WikiLeaks wrote that the link would help Trump in, quote-unquote, digging through leaked emails and stated, quote, "We just released Podesta emails part 4, unquote. 2 days later, Trump Jr. publicly tweeted the WLSearch.tk link. 2. Other potential campaign interest in Russian-hacked materials. Throughout 2016, the Trump campaign expressed interest in Hillary Clinton's private email server and whether approximately 30,000 emails from that server had in fact been permanently destroyed, as reported by the media. Several individuals associated with the campaign were contacted in 2016 about various efforts to obtain the missing Clinton emails and other stolen material in support of the Trump campaign. Some of these contacts were met with skepticism and nothing came of them. Others were pursued to some degree. The investigation did not find evidence that the Trump campaign recovered any such Clinton emails or that these contacts were part of a coordinated effort between Russia and the Trump campaign. A. Henry Okyanyaski, aka Henry Greenberg. In the spring of 2016, the Trump campaign advisor Michael Caputo learned through a Florida-based Russian business partner that another Florida-based Russian, Henry Okyanyaski, who also went by the name Henry Greenberg, claimed to have information pertaining to Hillary Clinton. Caputo notified Roger Stone and brokered a communication between Stone and Okyanyaski. Okyanyaski and Stone set up a May 2016 in-person meeting. Okyanyaski was accompanied to the meeting by Alexei Rasin, a Ukrainian associate involved in Florida real estate. At the meeting, Rasin offered to sell Stone derogatory information on Clinton that Rasin claimed to have obtained while working for Clinton. Rasin claimed to have possessed financial statements demonstrating Clinton's involvement in money laundering with Rasin's companies. According to Okyanyaski, Stone asked if the amounts in question total millions of dollars, but it was told it was closer to hundreds of thousands. Stone refused the offer, stating that Trump would not pay for opposition research. Okyanyaski claimed to the office that Rasin's motivation was financial. According to Okyanyaski, Rasin had tried unsuccessfully to shop at the Clinton information around other interested parties, and Okyanyaski would receive a cut if the information was sold. Racine is noted in public source documents as the director and/or registered agent for a number of Florida companies, none of which appears to be connected to Clinton. The office found no other evidence that Racine worked for Clinton or any other Clinton-related entities. In their statements to investigators, Okoniewski and Caputo had contradictory recollections about the meeting. Okoniewski claimed that Caputo accompanied Stone to the meeting and provided an introduction, whereas Caputo did not tell us that he had attended and claimed that he was never told what information Okoniewski offered. Caputo also stated that he was unaware Okoniewski sought to be paid for the information until Stone informed him after the fact. The office did not locate Racine in the United States, although the office confirmed Racine had been issued a Florida's driver's license. The office otherwise was unable to determine the content and origin of the information he purportedly offered to Stone. Finally, the investigation did not identify any evidence of a connection between the outreach or the meeting and Russian interference efforts. B. Campaign efforts to obtain deleted Clinton emails. After candidate Trump stated on July 27, 2016, that he hoped Russia would, quote, find the 30,000 emails that are missing, unquote, Trump asked the individuals affiliated with his campaign to find the deleted Clinton emails. Michael Flynn, who would later serve as National Security Advisor in the Trump administration, recalled that Trump made this request repeatedly, and Flynn subsequently contacted multiple people in an effort to obtain the emails. Barbara Ledeen and Peter Smith were among the people contacted by Flynn. Ledeen, a longtime Senate staffer who had previously sought the Clinton emails, provided updates to Flynn about her efforts throughout the summer of 2016. Smith, an investment advisor who was active in the Republican politics, also attempted to locate and obtain the deleted Clinton emails. Ledeen began her efforts to obtain the Clinton emails before Flynn's request, as early as December 2015. On December 3rd, 2015, she emailed Smith a proposal to obtain the emails stating, "Here is the proposal I briefly mentioned to you. The person I described to you would be happy to talk to you either in person or over the phone. The person can get the emails, which 1, were classified, and 2, were purloined by our enemies. That would demonstrate what needs to be demonstrated." Attached to the email was a 25-page proposal stating the, quote, Clinton email server was, in all likelihood, breached long ago, unquote, and that Chinese, Russian, and Iranian intelligence service could, quote, reassemble the server's email content, unquote. The proposal called for a 3-phase approach. The first 2 phases consisted of open-source analysis. The third phase consisted of checking with certain intelligence sources, quote, that have access through liaison work in various foreign services, unquote, to determine if any of those services had gotten to the server. The proposal noted, quote, even if a single email was recovered and the provenance of that email was the foreign service, it would be catastrophic to the Clinton campaign, unquote. Smith forwarded the email to 2 colleagues and wrote, quote, we can discuss to whom it should be referred, unquote. On December 16, 2015, Smith informed Ledeen that he declined to participate in her quote-unquote initiative. According to one of Smith's business associates, Smith believed Ledeen's initiative was not viable at the time. Just weeks after Trump's July 2016 request to find the Clinton emails, however, Smith tried to locate and obtain the emails himself. He created a company, raised tens of thousands of dollars, and recruited security experts and business associates. Smith made claims to others involved in the effort, and from whom he sought funding, and he was in contact with hackers with, quote, ties and affiliations to Russia, unquote, who had access to the emails, and his efforts were coordinated with the Trump campaign. On August 28, 2016, Smith sent an email from the encrypted account with the subject, sec.clinton's unsecured private email server, unquote, to an undisclosed list of recipients, including campaign co-chairman Sam Clovis. The email stated that Smith was, quote, just finishing 2 days of sensitive meetings here in D.C. with involved groups to poke and prod around on the above. It is clear that the Clintons' home-based, unprotected server was hacked with ease by both state-related players and private mercenaries. Parties with varying interests are circling to release ahead of the election, unquote. On September 2, 2016, Smith directed a business associate to establish KLS Research LLC, in furtherance of his search for the deleted Clinton emails. One of the purposes of KLS Research was to manage the funds Smith raised in support of his initiative. KLS Research received over $30,000 during the presidential campaign, although Smith represented that he raised even more money. Smith recruited multiple people for his initiative, including security experts to search for and authenticate the emails. In early September 2016, as part of his recruitment and fundraising effort, Smith circulated a document stating that his initiative was, quote, in coordination, unquote, with the Trump campaign, quote, to the extent permitted to the Independent Expenditure Organization, unquote. The document listed multiple individuals affiliated with the Trump campaign, including Flynn, Clovis, Bannon, and Kellyanne Conway. The investigation established that Smith communicated with at least Flynn and Clovis about his research and deleted Clinton emails, but the office did not identify evidence that any of the listed individuals initiated or directed Smith's efforts. In September 2016, Smith and Ledeen got back in touch with each other about their respective efforts. Ledeen wrote to Smith, quote, wondering if you had seen any more detailed reports or memos or other data that we could share, because we have come a long way in our efforts since we last visited, ... We would need as much technical discussion as possible before we could marry it against the new data we have found, and we could share it back with you for your eyes only, unquote. Ledeen claimed to have obtained a trove of emails from what she described as the dark web, and purported to be the deleted Clinton emails. Ledeen wanted to authenticate the emails and solicited contributions to fund that effort. Eric Prince provided funding to hire a tech advisor to ascertain the authenticity of the emails. According to Prince, the tech advisor determined that the emails were not authentic. A backup of Smith's computer contained 2 files that had been downloaded from WikiLeaks that were originally attached to the emails received from John Podesta. The files on Smith's computer had creation dates of October 2nd, 2016, which was prior to the date that the released by WikiLeaks. Forensic examination, however, established that the creation date did not reflect when the files were downloaded to Smith's computer. It appears the creation date was when WikiLeaks staged the document for release, as discussed in Volume 1, Section 3, B3C Supra. The investigation did not otherwise identify evidence that Smith had obtained the files before their release to WikiLeaks. Smith continued to send emails an undisclosed recipient list about Clinton's deleted emails until shortly before the election. For example, on October 28, 2016, Smith wrote that there was a, quote, tug of war going on with WikiLeaks over its planned release over the next few days, unquote, and that WikiLeaks, quote, has maintained that it will save its best revelations for last, under the theory that this allows little time for response prior to the U.S. election November 8th, unquote. An attachment to the emails claimed that WikiLeaks would, quote, release all 33,000 deleted emails, unquote, by November 1st. No emails obtained by Clinton's server were subsequently released. Smith drafted multiple emails stating that he was in contact with Russian hackers. For example, in one such email, Smith claimed that, in August 2016, KLS Research had organized meetings with the parties who had access to the deleted Clinton emails, including parties with, quote, ties and affiliations to Russia, unquote. The investigation did not identify evidence that any such meetings occurred. Associates with security experts who worked with Smith on the initiative did not believe that Smith was in contact with Russian hackers who were aware and of no such connection. The investigation did not establish that Smith was in contact with Russian hackers, or that Smith, Ledeen, or any other individuals with the Trump campaign ultimately obtained the deleted Clinton emails. In sum, the investigation established that the GRU hacked into accounts of persons affiliated with the Clinton campaign, as well as the computers of the DNC and DCCC. The GRU disseminated that data through fictitious online personas DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and later through WikiLeaks. The investigation also established that the Trump campaign displayed interest in WikiLeaks releases, and that, as explained in Volume 1, Section VB Infra, the evidence was sufficient to support computer intrusion and other charges against GRU officers for their role in election-related hacking. Alright, so that was Chapter 3 of the Mueller Report, and it seems like there was basically an entire section in there that was redacted, and, like, even the title of it was. And it seems like in that section, there is information that we missed that may have been slightly important. The overall section was Trump campaign and decimation of hacked materials. And considering even the first section name is blocked out, and most of the section is, it makes us curious about the little snippets of information that we get. For example, it talks about things Assange said, that he did not acquire the emails from the Russians, but he didn't provide any contacts. It talks about Gates being frustrated that the Clinton that Gates recalled candidate Trump being frustrated that the Clinton emails had not been found. But what's really curious is the things about Cohen are blocked out. Let me reread this paragraph. Michael Cohen, former executive vice president of the Trump Organization and special counsel to Donald J. Trump, told the office that he recalled an incident in which he was in candidate Trump's office in Trump Tower, and then about 5 sentences in that paragraph are redacted, harm to ongoing matter. Before it then states again, Cohen further told the office that after WikiLeaks' subsequent release of stolen DNC emails in July 2016, candidate Trump said to Cohen something along the effect of, then about 1 sentence is redacted, and that's kind of the end of that. And that's something I'm really curious about, because it might be referencing an event that happened at Cohen's last congressional testimony, where Cohen said that he was in Trump Tower, he was in Trump Tower talking to Trump around the time that that infamous Donald Trump Jr. meeting was happening with the Russians, and that Manafort came up the stairs, or Don Jr., one of the two, sorry, I don't really remember, but one of the two came up the stairs and whispered something in Trump's ear, and he said something along the effect of, like, good. And so it could be referencing that, but why would they redact it if Cohen has already said it publicly on the record? So I'm kind of wondering if there is more that maybe Cohen has found that he wasn't allowed to talk about at his congressional testimony, as it is harmful to ongoing matters. I guess really we can only wait and see what happens. Maybe parts of this report will be unredacted eventually, probably not right away, or maybe we'll hear something come up from this, but that really stands out to me, because really they went out of their way to block the entire purpose of that paragraph. The entire meat of the paragraph is gone. And then really throughout this section, there is a lot that's gone. Like, the sentences that are kind of left really do not give us a full piece of what's happening here. And I feel like that's really what this report is supposed to be about. To give the people the answers and not just give us the snippets we already know. And in blocking out pretty much this entire section, we really don't get any answers. So most of what's been blocked out is because it's harmful to ongoing matters, and there are a few times in here that it relates to the grand jury. So if this is harmful to an ongoing matter, there is a very good chance that at least some of this information is going to come out in the next couple months. And I really hope so, because I think really we do deserve answers, especially after this report really got built up for the last 2 years and was such a divisive part of our American political culture the last 2 years. Anyway, so that was today's read of the Mueller report. That was chapter 3. I will try to get the next chapter out as soon as possible, again, hopefully tomorrow, and I am currently working on getting this podcast, audio, recording, whatever you want to call it, on as many platforms as possible so that it can reach as many people as possible. So I will have any updates with that. If there are any updates with that, I will be sure to share them with anyone who's listening. And again, thank you for listening. Thank you to Robert Mueller for his report. Thank you for the Department of Justice. And see you next time.